Welcome to RGR Programming Hub YouTube channel.
Java numbers. Numbers. Primitive number types are divided into two groups. Integer types stores whole numbers, positive or negative, such as 123 or -456, without decimals. Valid types are byte, short, int and long. Which type you should use depends on the numeric value. Floating point types represents numbers with a fractional part, containing one or more decimals. There are two types, float and double. Even though there are many numeric types in Java, the most used for numbers are int, for whole numbers, and double, for floating point numbers. However, we will describe them all as you continue to read. Integer types. Byte. The byte data type can store whole numbers from -128 to 127. This can be used instead of int or other integer types to save memory when you are certain that the value will be within -128 and 127. Short. The short data type can store whole numbers from -32,768 to 32,767. Int. The int data type can store whole numbers from -2,147,483,648 to 2,147,483,647. In general, and in our tutorial, the int data type is the preferred data type when we create variables with a numeric value. Long. The long data type can store whole numbers from -9 quintillion 223 quadrillion 372 trillion 36 billion 854 million 775,808 to 9 quintillion 223 quadrillion 372 trillion 36 billion 854 million 775,807. This is used when int is not large enough to store the value. Note that you should end the value with an L. Floating point types. You should use a floating point type whenever you need a number with a decimal, such as 9.99 or 3.14515. The float and double data types can store fractional numbers. Note that you should end the value with an F for floats and D for doubles. Use float or double. The precision of a floating point value indicates how many digits the value can have after the decimal point. The precision of float is only 6 or 7 decimal digits, while double variables have a precision of about 15 digits. Therefore, it is safer to use double for most calculations. Scientific numbers. A floating point number can also be a scientific number with an E to indicate the power of 10. Java Boolean data types. Boolean types. Very often in programming, you will need a data type that can only have one of two values, like 1. Yes, no. 2. On, off. 3. True, false. For this, Java has a Boolean data type, which can only take the values true or false. Java characters. Characters. The char data type is used to store a single character. The character must be surrounded by single quotes, like A or C. Alternatively, if you are familiar with ASCII values, you can use those to display certain characters. Tip. A list of all ASCII values can be found in our ASCII table reference. Strings. The string data type is used to store a sequence of characters, text. String values must be surrounded by double quotes. The string type is so much used and integrated in Java that some call it the special ninth type. A string in Java is actually a non-primitive data type because it refers to an object. The string object has methods that are used to perform certain operations on strings. Don't worry if you don't understand the term object just yet. We will learn more about strings and objects in a later chapter. Java non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types are called reference types because they refer to objects. The main difference between primitive and non-primitive data types are: primitive types are predefined, already defined, in Java. 1. Non-primitive types are created by the programmer and is not defined by Java, except for string. 2. Non-primitive types can be used to call methods to perform certain operations, while primitive types cannot. 3. A primitive type has always a value, while non-primitive types can be null. 4. A primitive type starts with a lowercase letter, while non-primitive type starts with an uppercase letter. Examples of non-primitive types are strings, arrays, classes, interface, etc. You will learn more about these in a later chapter. Java typecasting. Java typecasting. Typecasting is when you assign a value of one primitive data type to another type. In Java, there are two types of casting: byte to short to char to int to long to float to double. Double to float to long greater than int to char greater than short to byte. Widening casting. Widening casting is done automatically when passing a smaller size type to a larger size type.
Narrowing casting. Narrowing casting must be done manually by placing the type in parentheses in front of the value. Java operators. Operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. In the example below, we use the plus operator to add together two values. Although the plus operator is often used to add together two values, like in the example above, it can also be used to add together a variable and a value, or a variable and another variable. Java divides the operators into the following groups. Arithmetic operators. 1. Assignment operators. 2. Comparison operators. 3. Logical operators. 4. Bitwise operators. Arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used to perform common mathematical operations. Java assignment operators. Assignment operators are used to assign values to variables. In the example below, we use the assignment operator, smiley face, to assign the value 10 to a variable called x. The addition assignment operator, plus smiley face, adds a value to a variable. A list of all assignment operators. Java comparison operators. Comparison operators are used to compare two values, or variables. This is important in programming, because it helps us to find answers and make decisions. The return value of a comparison is either true or false. These values are known as Boolean values, and you will learn more about them in the Booleans and if-else chapter. In the following example, we use the greater than operator, greater than, to find out if 5 is greater than 3. Java logical operators. You can also test for true or false values with logical operators. Logical operators are used to determine the logic between variables or values. Thanks for watching.